Awesome, huh? I can just lead off maybe a little bit and let you know how excited we are to be first and foremost in the NCAA Tournament. Number two, hosting right here in the Horish Family Volleyball Arena. I think you look at the team and the type of year we've had. There's 5 of our non-conference opponents are in the NCAA Tournament, and then obviously 7 from the Big 12. So there's been a ton of opportunity for us to play good teams throughout this fall, and we think this team's in a really good place to compete favorably once we get the opportunity to do that this week. So let's go.
You played Omaha earlier in the year. Just how do you think they've developed since then?
Yeah, Omaha took on a really, really courageous pre-conference schedule. They played Kansas, they played Kansas State, they played Creighton, they played Nebraska. And their record was a little misleading after 10 matches, but they righted the ship in a good league. UMKC and South Dakota and Denver were all very quality teams in the Summit League. They've changed their system a little bit from a 1-setter to a 2-setter, but I know they've got good personnel, and this is the first time NCAA Tournament bid for them. So I know Coach Buttermore is excited, and they'll come in here ready to go.
And then the momentum you guys picked up with some of those wins at the end of the season, just how much does that help you heading into the tournament?
Yeah, I think obviously the win at BYU against a really physical team on the road was good. I think this past week we were trying to protect our opportunity more than we were going out. I think we were a little anxious at times that I think the team knew, even though we didn't talk about it, that a couple wins this past week might give us a chance to host. So hopefully we can clear that out of the system and play a little bit freer of mind. But yeah, we've been good the last month or so. Been consistently good the whole year, but some quality wins against good teams here as of late.
Ray, what do you think about your draw overall?
Yeah, Penn State, I think a lot of people had them pegged to host. You know, you can debate that a little bit, but when you get into the NCAA Tournament, you get into these moments you play, who's right in front of you. Yale's had a great season. What's kind of cool is all the 3 visiting teams and our staff are all pretty good friends with a bunch of those folks. So I think Penn State had hopes maybe they'd be a first-round host, but the committee saw, I think Florida maybe as a 16 seed, and Penn State certainly was right on that bubble. So a very quality team playing against maybe Yale's best team they've had in years. And then you got Omaha coming in with their first opportunity, and Kansas playing well. So we got a nice pod of 4 teams we're excited about.
You went through a new look Big 12 this season. How do you feel about going through that, how it helped you, and also the different scheduling model as opposed to past years?
Yeah, so BYU got a seed. Houston's in the NCAA Tournament. UCF was right on the edge. I think they got off to a great start, but faded a little bit down the stretch. And then Cincinnati had a good year. So I think those 4 teams did nothing but help up the overall strength of the conference. And you look, we got 7 in. I think our folks down the road at K-State, I'll be honest with you, I think we're all disappointed for them that they did not. You know, they beat BYU twice, they beat Texas. But I think 7 speaks highly of our conference, the teams that did get in.
Ray, you got a bunch of girls who like to be the underdog and you know, play that role and play that mindset. But second in the Big 12, now you're hosting. How do you navigate that moving forward? Can you tap into some of that natural, you know, mentality that they've had that's got them to this point, or is that harder to do now?
Well, I think we got to be that regardless. You know, when they talked about the top players in our region bracket, they listed a couple from Penn State, and 1 from Fairfield, and 1 from somewhere. They didn't mention the Jayhawks. So maybe we're still a little bit of that underdog. And if you look at a historical perspective, obviously Penn State's got more volleyball history than anybody in the country probably. But we're playing their current. We hope we get the opportunity to play their current roster. And a lot of volleyball's got to be played Thursday. I mean, Yale's got their expectations against Penn State. Obviously, we have our expectations against Omaha. So we're gonna take it one match at a time. We've got all our eyes on Omaha and what they got going on right now. It's a familiar opponent, but they've made some tweaks as we have, So that should be an interesting match on Thursday, and if we're fortunate to play on Friday, we'll be prepared for that too.
Your record is phenomenal. So are you starting to think this is one of the better teams in KU history? Or how would you rank what you've done to date? Because your record.
Yeah, it's been a good year. We won 14 conference matches. We've only done that one other time. Given the fact we had 2 more matches this year, we had 18 instead of 16. But we look back on teams, the totality of their season, the NCAA tournament's a big piece of that. So, yeah, let's get some work done in the NCAA tournament, then we can start having some conversations about the group. But 23-5 in a really good league with a good non-conference schedule speaks well to where we're at this point. But certainly we want to add some value and some energy to this season by the way we compete this week.
Were there stretches this season when you started to believe that hosting was a possibility, or did you always, even before the season, think that this could be possible?
I told the team kind of an interesting story last night. I had to change my password on one of my accounts this summer, and I'd used up all the vernacular, I guess, within volleyball and all this. And I said, hey, let's host. So that was one of my logins to, because we talked last spring, our team, I said, you guys tired of going on the road first round of the NCAA tournament and playing Nebraska at Nebraska, or Creighton at Creighton, or Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh? And they said, yeah. I said, okay, well, let's commit to some little things this spring and this summer to where maybe we don't have to go play a really good team on the road. We'll play some really good teams in Horish. And I'm constantly reminded of that every day I log into my computer. That wasn't my checking account or anything else like that. But, and that kind of drove me and the staff about what's those small margins that we need to take care of to make that happen. So that doesn't guarantee you anything, but it's certainly great to sleep in your own bed, play on your home court, and do those things. So we're excited about that.
What is the power of home court advantage in volleyball? You guys won 14 straight. How does that help over the match?
No, you still got to execute, but I think we've had a competitive confidence at home that's important. I think there's an energy in Horish that creates a little bit of a wave of momentum sometimes, but I think our team is adapted to that, and the crowd has really, I think, adopted this team in many ways. The way they play, how hard they play, the energy and enthusiasm they play with. They play with a great competitive humility, which I think is a huge piece of what this group does and why they have success. But we still have to go out there and we got to first contact, pass, and serve well. We got to do all the little things, but I think there is obviously a bonus playing in that facility, especially with this team and the way they thrive on that.
This might be sacrilegious, but is Reagan Cooper, does she remind you at all of Kelsey Payne, what she was doing?
Cooper is one of the better outside attackers. You know, Payne was a right side attacker, Cooper's a left side attacker, but they both impact the match in similar ways. I think Cooper has found, this year has found that I can be a dominant player, and I think she knows that we believe that she can. But I think Payne's the last one that we had that could go get a kill at any time. I think Cooper's a lot like that in a lot of different ways. Payne believed it. Cooper is just starting to figure out, wow, this could happen, and it's pretty cool to see.
All right, anything else for Coach B? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.